In fact, the ERP transformation is an endless journey. And that's as a result of the need to support the governance and cultural transformation actions. I do believe, as I think most of you also do, that whatever the efforts spent to achieve the targeted governance, digitization will remain the most efficient way to do so. Also, the variety of clients, requirements, and project natures compel to consider additional measures in the ERP implementation. Similarly, the continuously updated challenges implies the continuous development in the ERP transformation. And finally, constant aspiration to digitization and development is one more factor that fosters the continuous development in the ERP transformation. However, the journey contains so many success stories. What I'm going to share with you, inshallah, in the coming slides are samples of our success stories in the ERP implementation, representing the efforts of group of technical and functional teams, supported by our management vision of digital transformation. The first sample is the implementation of procurement cycle using the supply chain module. Actually, our position before implementing the procurement cycle using the supply chain was, as most of the common practice that relies on that time on the traditional paperwork to get the right information of procurement and verify the information, try to standardize the way of approval hierarchy and data workflow. Also, the traditional way of filing and archiving a massive amount of documents and the associated spaces for storing the documents, and planned and organized way for requesting the material. We might at that time receive requests for procurement using a phone call or a certain piece of paper. Also, the effort spent of manual entry to reach out the required reporting that present the tracking of the procurement cycle and the required report for different stakeholders. While after implementing the procurement cycle, we managed to reach to the as much as possible to what we may call the paperless works. We reduced the required templates and forms for procurement cycle to the minimum, relying on the electronic material supply request or service supply request through the system, and predefined workflow and approval hierarchy in the system. No need anymore for the manual or the traditional archiving system, as most of the data is digitally archived in servers or clouds. Also, the material supply requests or service supply requests becomes more organized and more planned, as the material or service requester are able now to manage and track his request through the system and through the associated reports, and plan for the second or for the coming requests. The reports have been automatically prepared in the system, and no need anymore also for the human efforts to get or to enter the data to the system to get the tracking reports. Here is a sample of one of the reports, which is the most effective tool to enable us to track the material request or the service request from the point of issuing the request itself till the time of even invoicing the vendor. Linking all the information required for the zone or the area for which the material or service is requested, the task number that we used to call, used to name as a project cost code, the task name, which represents the activity or the work packages for which the material or service requested, a simple description about the material supply request and the approval status. Then you can track and be able to know what is the status of your request till date, whether it is approved or returned or still in process. Further to that, the purchase order issuance will start, And here also you can see the status of your purchase order approval status. What are the quantities requested in this material supply request or service supply request? In addition to that, out of the requested material, how much is the quantity delivered till date? What is the supplier or the vendor name? What is the invoice number to track its invoice and to have as a proof for further use? And the invoicing dates and also the type of or the way of payment. Based on this information, most of our management decisions have been based for the coming or for the procurement plan. The other sample of our success story is the implementation of inventory management using also the supply chain module. Similar, before applying the inventory management cycle in supply chain, the same issues that have been faced related to the paperwork and also the filing issues, especially for limited spaces like in our warehouses and stores. In addition to that, we faced the issue of controlling the material issued to the site and the project. Just imagine that a huge area of projects and different activities running all over the way, all over the day. How you are able to track all the issued material to the certain activities or work packages. Also, we faced a lot of challenges during the auditing of warehouses. That was relying before on the traditional procedure of finding the manual reports and entries and comparing the physical stock with all of these reports. While after implementing the system, we overcome the issue of the papers and digital and archiving way and the limited spaces. In addition to that, we empowered the control of the issued material as most of the material requesters or the site team used to issue the what we call the supply, the issuance request shows the activity or the work package for which he wants to use this material. And also, the auditing became more smooth after applying this, as the auditor will refer to all the data placed in the system. It enables him now to show, to see all the material delivered to the store and all the issued material and the certain days. And it becomes now one of the mandate requests for most of the auditors, that you have to have ERP system to control or to monitor your warehouse. Here is also the sample used for the inventory management that shows all the transactions occurred in the warehouse using the item codes for each material or tools or whatever. The zone name or the area for which this material was issued, the task number again also, or the activity or work packages, the quantities issued from the store, and all the related information regarding the actual cost and amounts, and even the MIV number or the voucher numbers, and the related account code or as recorded in chart of account. Just referring to these two samples, and in order to imagine the impact on our cost optimization, let's see that if we have projects worth billions, that we may call giga projects, the amount of documents saved after applying this modules, just we are talking about two samples of the modules, the amount of disputes being reduced and the miscommunication before applying the system, the data security. Now the data stored to a certain place with the associated security, and also the accessibility for specified stakeholders to this data. Before we were relying on requesting the report from different stakeholders and from different sources. Now we are trying on what we call a single source of truth. Also the time reduced in reporting or in recording the information. And also the management decision support that becomes data-driven decisions instead of any other efforts like before. Thank you.